Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoyamsoke and there's a lot to discuss. The first one is the leader of opposition, I should now say outgoing, sent me a hamper, Christmas festival season hamper. Moses is the producer today. He will hand it over to me. NSSF has also sent me, I think it's a book. So these is very, very good people. Moses, the senior one, not Moses, the producer. Most welcome. Welcome to Gang, Moses.
Thank you,
yes.
Oscar, my colleagues in the studio, our listeners out there.
Yes.
And everybody, I wish them Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, Moses...
Including Honorable Semuju.
Including Honorable... Well,
no, by the way, Honorable Semuju has been away, I think for almost a month from the gang.
Yes.
So you're welcome, Honorable Semuju.
You're the one welcoming him. I beg your pardon?
The phrasing is special. Because you have been away from the gang for a long time.
Moses, let me finish. Abdu is on the way. Let me finish these introductions. So Moses has gifted Moses here new notes. Lady as well, new notes. Semuju, new notes. Semuju, can you return that money?
Return to who?
To Moses. You can return. You know, this has been the FDC problem all along, returning money. There were new notes. So
Moses has
do you wish to return the money?
So you mean I should decline?
Yes. But isn't this what you're roused
All of
about?
you are not declining. Why are you inviting me to decline?
For you, that was the problem. Receiving money.
No.
And these are new notes.
The
so
money
this is an
the money that we have returned
to return the money.
The money that we have returned in Parliament was the specious money. I think the last one was to change the constitution. So we are being bribed to change the constitution. Moses is just giving me as a friend.
But isn't that the battle in FDC? Money, receiving money. There were new notes as well.
No.
Because a former principal says he went back to the Bank of Uganda, checked, and there were new notes.
You know, him he saw, but me I didn't.
You didn't?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and on to today's topics. Welcome to Gang, Edgar Tabaro. Pleasure to have you here.
Oscar,
again.
Moses gives me yogurt every Saturday.
Yes.
Why are you not asking me to return the yogurt?
Because that one is edible. You eat it straight away. So you're most welcome, Edgar Tabaro.
Thank you, Oscar. I'm humbled to be here.
2 Saturdays in a row.
Saturdays in a row. Thank you for the invitations, and importantly, Moses Yaranga is one person I've worked very closely with. I don't want to disclose state secrets.
You disclosed too much already.
I've already disclosed too much. Then for Honorable Semujung and we were contemporaries at Makerere. He was 1 year ahead of me. And I've seen him grow and mature.
So you're that young?
He's 1 year older than me.
I have aged.
He's 1 year older than me. And I've seen Honorable Semuju mature from the reporter he was. And
isn't it natural that the years will keep?
No, he's become now, he's still that diamond.
Gentlemen, all of you younger...
Oscar Honorable Semuju is that diamond that needs to be polished. But he's a lot better than the person he was 25 years ago at Makerere.
So is everybody.
No, some people grow old getting worse, and I don't want to give names. There are many in this region, particularly those responsible for the instability we have in the region.
Leave Edgar and Semuju alone. We have a budget, a big budget it was. And then 4 months into the budget, I should say, sorry, I beg your pardon, congratulations to our gangster. I guess we will not have him on Gang for a while as a gangster, Honorable Joe Senyonyi, who's been appointed as the new LOP leader of the opposition. Congratulations. In Parliament, leader of opposition in Parliament.
That would be clear.
Yes. And I don't know whether Semuju will accept the one he has been appointed to, or I don't know, but congratulations to them. Listeners, this is the second last Gang of the year. Next week, we shall review the year. We also look deeper into the president's speech in his review of the year. So Moses, 3 trillion supplementary budget, 4 months. And by projection, in another 4 months, that will be 8 months, you might need another 4 trillion. What's happening? Why must we have a supplementary budget at this point in time?
Well, it's not a question of time, when, and it's a question of why you needed it. And it's not about that every 4 months you'll have another one. I think if you look at this supplementary, which was passed by Parliament like 10 days ago, I inquired from the Secretary of the Treasury. That says that some of the items in the supplementary were in the budget that was presented to Parliament for approval in April. Unfortunately, Parliament cut the money on those items, most of which were unpostponable obligations or critical needs, and they allocated to other unplanned expenditures favored by the MPs. This constituted much of the expenditure under the 3%, e.g. rural electrification, money for food for remand homes, special grant for persons with disabilities, money for oil roads, research and tuition, money for Makerere University, etc. These had been put in the original budget but had been removed by Parliament. So, and the government found them that they're critical to be served, so took them back for approval. The other category, the second category, the major category of the supplementary were projects funded by the World Bank and other financiers that needed revoting, reappropriation, having failed to spend the money during last financial year. This is money for seed secondary schools under U-Gift program, regional city roads, and USMID, etc. Then the third category were items that the government had failed to include in the budget at the time of approval in May due to limited fiscal space. Yet they can't wait for next financial year, e.g. census, national ID needed to kickstart the 2026 electoral roadmap, hosting of NAM, etc. These were foreseeable at the time of budgeting, but government realized later that they were unpostponable. Category 4 is the fourth category, were items that were purely unforeseen and unpostponable, e.g. collapse of Kayunga, that is the Sezewa Bridge, security threats due to terrorists, attacks on tourists, and other planned attacks in the country. This is what is contained in the classified budget under State House.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the 4 different categories in the supplementary budget which were passed. There are those which, as I said earlier, which were in the regional budget, but Parliament had not passed them, and government found them critical. They had to take them back. There are those which are unforeseeable, like security issues and ABCD.
The only one I felt in there was the one is the NAM conference. Mm-hmm. But the rest, there's no reason to disbelieve that they will not return in another supplementary budget. But at least the NAM is an event that comes in and goes. And you wonder why Parliament would have refused it, rejected it.
No, that was not among the which Parliament had rejected, but was, I think they had not put enough money for it. There was also at some stage there was some discussion how much the government should invest in, and so on and so forth. But eventually, after that is the PSS still sitting in the category which they couldn't postpone, but it was needed, but they hadn't put budgeted for it enough at the time of budgeting. Yeah.
Honorable Semju?
Yes. First of all, every year we have handled the supplementary budget.
Not this early.
Yes.
This early?
Yes.
Oh.
Sometimes actually you will have one supplementary budget. You also have another. But sometimes they even bring addendums to those supplementary budgets. So they first bring it and then they bring more other figures.
So we are just poor at budgeting?
No, we are not poor. This is deliberate. First of all, you need to understand 2 things, Oscar. That the Public Finance and Management Act allows government to spend in extra 3% of the budget without parliamentary approval. I hope I am understood. So you can pass a budget
and even go over it by 3%.
By 3% without prior parliamentary approval.
In different votes.
The way they want it. Then they can also, with parliamentary approval, spend and revise their budget. So they usually submit, they usually do it this way, Oscar. When you tell them, don't spend money on this item, immediately the budget is passed, it will be the first item that they will spend on under the 3%. I hope I am also understood. So you tell them, do not spend money on this. Then they go under the 3% that they are allowed to spend without prior parliamentary approval and spend it. But they also bring even in excess of the 3%. So the excess in the 3% is what they will require prior parliamentary approval before they spend it. So when you pass a budget and tell the government, please, we don't think that this is a priority. So please, this money, move it to this is a priority. They keep quiet. But when they go back, they will first fund items that you told them, please don't spend. But that's, sometimes you get angry with them. Let's look at the NAM meeting. The decision by the president that you give Sudil 100 billion shilling to construct a conference facility at Munyonyo, in the view of many MPs, was that, including NRM MPs, was that no, you begin a construction of conference facilities that are national. They said, no, we'll go and acquire shares. Then we asked them first question. During Chogam 207, you invested 12.5 billion shilling in the construction of common resort facility in Munyonyo, Commonwealth Resort, and you said, you see, Munyonyo is going to be interesting, Oscar. That facility is not as huge as it is being presented, but part of it we are supposed to have co-invested with Sudil in that hotel. So there are supposed to be two hotels at the moment. One where we invested and the one purely of Sudil. Isn't it okay? You give us the share certificate where we invested first. They don't have a share certificate, but they continue parading that this was a joint venture. So he said, if you did not get the share certificate in the first investment, how sure are we that you're going to get share certificate? Because one time the Auditor General shows up at Munyonyo because he's supposed to audit every entity where government has put any money, and it's really chased them. So after quarreling, they abandoned. Then they went away and used 3%. It was the first item that they funded. So was Atiak. So were other things that the president, friends of the president, if they want the money, they can come.
That's financial. This financial.
They will have money for Atiak every year. Atiak, Kira Motors, this one of banana in Ushenyi. So there are things that for which you will pass a budget, but they also benefit from a supplementary because, for example, the Ushenyi, that banana initiative, presidential banana initiative, we have been giving them a budget and a supplementary since it began. So the MP said, no, we are putting too much money in these projects. So the president, I think he keeps quiet. He said, you leave them, they can shout. Immediately you pass the budget, I use the 3% that doesn't require prior parliamentary approval and fund my things, and then go back to them and inform them that we have already spent. So you have no option, no escape route. But the bigger question you're talking about of indiscipline, the technical people, including the one who has given Biarhanga information, they cry quietly. They cry quietly because ordinarily they don't have enough money to finance the budget itself. And that's why it is a requirement under the law that each time you present supplementary funding, you must show the source of funding, because you have a budget of 53 trillion.
Funding, even in the entire budget must show that.
Any budget.
Yeah, but you see, the reason it is critical is that you have already presented what will fund the main budget of 53 trillion. And sometimes you don't realize the money because URA will not be able to correct all the 31 trillion. The money for World Bank, some of it will not come. So if you don't have enough money to fund the budget that was approved by Parliament, why do you then present another small budget for which you are sure you don't have money? So in the end, what they do, they actually go into the main budget and pick money and fund what Parliament had initially refused to pass, and then at the end of the financial year, budget performance was 80% because URA was unable to do this. So it is not. It's not that they don't know, it's not indiscipline, it is deliberate that these MPs are disturbing us. You allow them to pass the budget. As soon as they do so, we go and fund our priorities. You remember in our minority report, one of the arguments was you had people like Ruawogu, senior presidential advisor on investment and what, who was requesting for over 100 billion. And they were tricking us by asking Parliament to approve at least 10. Our argument was the moment you approve 10, then they will go under supplementary and give him the 90. So this classified that they are throwing in your faces that it is for security, it is for what? Because at that time, that's what they have done in the past.
Did you approve the last one you got, the 37 billion?
No, we approved part of it.
You approved part of it?
We approved part of it, and I think they looked shabby. Because if you bring, because you guys, you can't bring a budget with the names of president's family written on it. This is for Saleh, this is for Wabogo, this is for the man himself and his wife. I think now they have changed the tactic.
Is this factual?
I mean, if you have money and this item is for Wabogo, this one of Nakaseke is Saleh, this one is from Seven and Qatar, this one is for this. I think they are smarter. They are smarter. Instead of making too much noise, they have just brought one big figure, 100 billion classified under State House. Now they can quietly go and share. So it's a smarter way of avoiding scrutiny by Parliament, but also the anger from the public.
Okay, Edgar Tabaro. On the supplementary, but these parliamentarians, they have money for cars as well.
Which cars?
SUVs you bought for
first of all, supplementary budget.
It's from
these
Parliament.
vehicles are these vehicles are not for MPs.
They are for former speakers.
They are in the law.
Funded by Parliament.
They are in the law.
Actually,
that
you'll
give them a vehicle every after 5 years.
That's right.
So we have the money.
Let me address what you're trying to bring to the fore. Now, supplementary budget derives its authority under, I think, is it Article 156 of the Constitution that provides generally for budgeting, and the Public Finance Act. It has a very long title, almost a full page.
Public Finance
Management Act. Providing, it gives the purpose, and very long title. It was amended in 2015, I think, to give the minister responsible for finance or for budgeting latitude to present a supplementary budget in the first quarter of the fiscal year. But just a little bit of background. The public is supposed to be taking part in the budgeting processes. I think it starts around, is it September, when they call for I think proposals, budget circular, and that is the disjuncture that we have in the Republic of Uganda.
That's not
civil society, and when I'm talking of civil society, I'm not talking of those noisy NGOs that are funded by foreign agents, some of them agents and principled agents of regime change.
Funded by foreign.
I know when I talk about foreign funding, Honorable Semuju becomes when I talk of an principled regime change, Honorable Semuju becomes uncomfortable. But that's a topic for another day. So we don't participate in this.
He's known for removing governments also.
At
FDC headquarters.
At FDC Katonga. Thank you, Moses, for the reminder. But there's a disjuncture. So, as such, and particularly persons in space like ours, Oscar, the so-called intelligentsia, elite of Ugandan society. Once you have an elite like us who are disjointed, who are not part and parcel of the governance process and holding our leaders to account, you're likely to have impunity and indiscipline setting in. And I don't want to miss words. The last time we had adherence to fiscal discipline was when the Honorable Suruma was in charge of the exchange. No, he was, but he wasn't being rather roughshod like what we have now.
Maybe that's why he lost the job.
Yeah, he was actually.
I will tell you his story. When he was refusing to use money for State House, what happened to him?
Well, I mean, at least you agree with what I'm saying. And I've read his book. When you kicked him out of, you people were investigating Temangalo. When you kicked him out of the Sir Apollo Kagwa Road, he relocated to Washington to write his memoirs by the Brookings Institute, and he reduced it into a publication that I forget the title, but he gives accounts, an account of how from the time of UCB and what have you, and his time as deputy governor and as a director at the NRA.
Edgar, I know your love for Suruma, but I'm trying to steer you back onto this supplementary budget.
I'm coming back to it. I'm coming
in
to
the limited time we have.
The limited time we have. So the budget, the Public Finance Management Act, permits the minister latitude to present a supplementary budget in the first quarter. Now, it's supposed to be 3% of the appropriated budget. Appropriated budget, not of the entire budget. The entire budget is 52.8 trillion Uganda shillings. Now, of that 52.8, I don't remember the exact figure. Honorable, the person you're going to introduce next will probably give the exact figures. But in that budget, there are what they call statutory provisions in the budget. For instance, contributions to international organizations. There's the pensions. Those ones are not appropriate. They are statutory. So the question is it 3% of the entire budget, yes, or that of the appropriated
even
funds?
Statutory is appropriated.
So, as it were, given the challenges we have as a country, and the way we have panned out our politics in Uganda of rent seekers and patronage, I don't see this ending
soon.
And as we enter January 2024, it will be less than 2 years to the next nominations. Believe me, we are going to have supplementary budget after supplementary budget. And I'll be one of the persons who will be making a request for supplementary budget, and I'll tell you why. The tea industry has come to a grand halt. The tea prices that we are fetching at Mombasa auction are a third of the cost price, the unit cost of production of our teas.
So what do you want the public to do with you?
No, I'm addressing you.
For you.
I am addressing you, parliamentarians. This is a critical sector. This is a critical sector.
Well, Abdul, welcome to Ghana.
This is a critical sector. So,
Edgar, pause for a second. There's a post here on Twitter from JBKB, whoever that is, says at Semayams, okay, there was an item under the supplementary budget of 13 billion for under artists. Public service for money lenders associations. So does the Ministry of Public Service borrow from money lenders? That's the question.
You can see the tea growers.
Now the tea growers are
no, for us, we are coming. Honorable Katutu, I have you on notice.
Well, you may even come for the butchers and the meat.
No, for us, we are more organized than those ones. We are more organized than them. We are coming. That one you want to notice. And I'm going to tell Honorable Vyaruhanga right here that if you don't rescue the tea sector in 2026, please keep away from Toro. Please don't come and campaign there.
In this case, I should seek a supplementary budget for education and teachers. But
even here, there was something for YouGift, which is construction of schools as part of the
supplementary construction of schools. Where
no. let me give some information, and I hope
In fact,
you
I
are
was-
not
I was-
trying to spin. Just one second. Let me make a
I'm
clarification
coming
on
to
that, but
I'm
your
coming
point.
to you. Don't worry, I'm coming. I was saying to Edgar, now that you're on open campaign, let me first go to Katuntu here. Most welcome to Gang, Abdul Katuntu. Now go ahead, starting with the response and then your remarks.
Which chart is he putting on today?
This man, he's the chairman of NAM. So
Joyce
After-
Ebank.
yes.
Anyhow,
after you've made your presentation, I'll
gift-
ask you about how much they are giving.
Yeah,
you
the
for
U
NAM.
gift was money which had been appropriated last financial year, but it wasn't absorbed by
I
the
I seen that
difference.
before you came.
So it was brought
Revoted,
back.
Revoted. That's
Yes,
what you
it was
call
reverted because that money had already been
The
appropriated.
I
It
agree with
wasn't
you.
used.
The only thing I'm saying, it was part of the supplementary.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the supplementary budget, Honorable Abdul Katuntu.
Okay. You see, every permanent secretary, okay, the last two, let his soul rest in peace, Keith and Ramadan now, were very, very emphatic at some point in time about financial discipline. And all of them, you remember the late Keith coming and said, I will never accept supplementaries anymore. It is a sign of indiscipline and uncoordinated expenditure. However, realistically and under the law, when we're enacting the Public Finance Management Act, we thought that there could be unavoidable, which we never foresaw, unforeseen expenses which are required by the country. Those ones can come as a supplementary. For example, the U gift Moses is talking about. This was already money appropriated, and we thought the local governments would spend them. At the end of the financial year, they had not absorbed that money. So that is unavoidable, and it was not foreseen that we give you money to construct a school, and at the end of the financial, you still have that money. Once we appropriate, we assume that you are going to use that money. So those are circumstances under which, Oscar, we would be looking at supplementaries. But when some items come, really, they are not, they are foreseen. Two, they are even avoidable. Those cannot come under supplemental. It is worse, like when I walked in and Ibrahim was explaining, there are aspects which Parliament actually rejected during the main budgeting process. We said, no, this is not a priority. And some of them we outright rejected. Then they said, okay, what we do, now go and spend much as they have rejected it. So then you come back to us and say, by the way, you refused, but we have given them the money anyway. So you just now rubber stamp. It is sickening. You just make Parliament look very bad, but not even yours. You also yourself, you look silly.
Who?
You who is doing it. I mean, because don't imagine that you are being very intelligent because I look at Parliament as the people's representative. They have said, no, don't spend this money on this. This is our money. And you said, no, I'll spend it anyway. And then come to you, I said, can you now approve I've spent? Because the law says you can spend up to a percentage and seek 3% and seek retrospective approval. That's wrong. So whenever we have a new permanent secretary, and my brother Ramadan, used to tell us economics that works. And he was so critical about some of these issues. So passionate. And he's quite articulate when he's really explaining, submitting on these issues professionally. You could see his point. And we were wondering what is the problem.
To give him credit, Honorable Katuntu, I think on another aspect, but related to this, Ramadan has improved budget absorption. He has doubled it. Previously, it was at 26. It has stagnated at 26%. It's now hitting 53%.
I don't know where you get those figures. I don't know where you get those figures. But
we
shall interrogate them.
We are different. We read from different scripts.
Yeah.
No. He has. Honestly,
Let Abdul continue.
Okay, much obliged. Much obliged.
Yeah, you see what happens. Budget absorption is it has different stakeholders and so on, and how governments work at departments and so on. But at the end of the day, as a Secretary of the Treasury, you need to give guidance to the accounting officers on how they manage funds that have been appropriated, and it's quite a big job.
And that's what
Secretary of the Treasury.
And he's done well at that.
there is no Secretary of the Treasury who will not do well at on a particular point. Keith did miracles, especially introducing the FME systems and so on. Let me tell you, management of third world finances is not a kiosk business thing. Even you, with micro families, I don't know how many of you have a proper budgeting system for your families. And so on.
I run a law firm, Honorable Katutu. I have also a factory, right?
I was being polite. I didn't want to say kiosk law firm.
No, mine is not a kiosk law firm, Honorable Katutu.
Gentlemen.
It's KTA Advocate.
So the point is,
Honorable Katutu told me, by the way. So if he calls mine a kiosk law firm, then he's saying he failed.
It was in jest.
Tongue and cheek. So to me, I think we need to go back to the drawing board on how we manage finances. Budgeting process. First of all, there is a lot of even indiscipline in the expenditure. The English say you cut your cloth according to your size. You know, because let me tell you, the needs of this country are too many, and we don't have enough resources. So we need to have a realistic budget. So, well, how much money can we, first of all, generate as a country? And even if we are to borrow, can we borrow in certain limits? That's why even under the Public Finance Management Act, we have a ceiling of borrowing. So there is a real problem, Oscar. And Minister Matia Kasaija, my brother Ramadan Govi should clean up their act. But at the end of the day, Parliament must be doing its work. Because the biggest problem is some of us, when we sit there and we are just rubber stamping, you don't even read those budget papers, you don't... let me say... but that's what an MP should be doing.
But
that's what
but Abdu, before the thing is, this is a season of looking bad. I take from you, we are looking bad. If you have a supplementary budget of 3 trillion, then in the same week, our president gives away 1.2 billion to youths, 100 million to each circle. Then in the same week, Parliament, the Speaker or Parliament gives SUVs to former speakers. Then in the same week, some MPs are going to get 100 million each. So the whole, it is very, very...
I don't know about the 100.
You don't know about the 100?
I don't know. But what
you
I
don't know whether it is 100 or it is...
I just don't know about anything. It is not anywhere provided fund, so on. So really, I don't know on what budget line or how it can.
But that has never stopped people, even when there's no provision for.
Let me tell you, it's possible, but I don't know about it because I have no idea about it except reading about it like you and me. But let me tell you one thing about the speaker's vehicles. One, and Edgar was talking about, they are what we call statutory expenditures. Provided for by the law, and that includes things like a pension, retirement benefits, or salaries. These vehicles are a statutory expenditure, and they are supposed to take first call on the budget. I have a big disagreement, Oscar, with those who are still occupying offices, government offices, accessing retirement benefits. Because to me, my own interpretation of the law, it is illegal. You see, if you have been, for example, a vice president and a speaker, like like His Excellency Kiwanuka Edward II, and you are now a senior presidential advisor, entitled to a government car. You cannot go and say, by the way, I retired as deputy speaker, as a speaker, and a vice president, so give me these multiple retirement benefits. It is illegal. It is immoral. It doesn't make common sense.
You will take one.
Sorry?
You take one.
Whichever is higher.
Yeah.
Whichever is higher, but they are taking all. That's what. And you know what happened? I was the shadow attorney general at that time, and the Honorable Sekandi had been appointed vice president. The parliament, he requested the parliamentary commission to provide his retirement benefits. And the parliamentary commission at that time, chaired by Right Honorable Kadaga, included it in their budget. The Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee is the line committee for the Parliamentary Commission. It came when we were doing the parliamentary budget. We rejected it. Was that under Tashobe? Who was the chairman? Ruhindi. It is either Ruhindi or Tashobe, one of them. I think we rejected it. When we rejected it, the Honorable Second sought opinion of the then Attorney General. Let his soul rest in peace. The Honorable Peter Nyombi. Then he wrote an opinion saying that retirement benefit accrues on retirement. Once you are deputy speaker, you cease being, you're entitled. When you are after that, so the Right Honorable Second is entitled to his benefits
of deputy speaker
and speaker
and vice president
and vice president. I was mad. Actually, we had a very, very primitive call between me and the late Peter about this. Anyway, eventually, there was some sympathy from the sitting speaker then.
Of course.
There was some sympathy. And eventually we are defeated. They started waving that...
Would the same sympathy extend to the present speaker and the ex-speaker?
No, it has never risen because it is now the law. So, what you...
And as interpreted by government.
by the Attorney General. So what means that actually, even if you are still in government service, you can still access this pension
package somewhere.
And now you find like the Honorable Second, he will access that one of Vice President, he accesses that one of Deputy Speaker, and that one of Speaker. I don't know whether it makes common sense to you people. I strongly believe and agree that retired speakers are entitled to, or should be entitled to, retirement benefit. Like, for example, the Right Honorable Watagira and the Right Honorable Rugumayo. Because these are no longer in public service, they are senior citizens, they served this country.
Rugumayo is.
Sorry?
Rugumayo is a
presidential
senior
advisor.
presidential advisor.
I thought he was.
And he gets 15 million per month.
You know, because that one is entitled to a car, as a, not so Moses, a senior presidential advisor. He's entitled to what? To a government car. So you cannot give him again.
But it's also statutory.
Which one?
It depending on the availability of funds.
Once
as a senior president's advisor.
Yeah.
No, that one is entitled to. Nobody is quarreling with him as a senior president's advisor.
I know we come from the same area and I know him fairly well. He doesn't have a car from State House. I can assure you of that.
Okay.
Doesn't drive one.
He's the latest inclusion. He wasn't there before.
Yeah. So to me, those who are still serving and have got government vehicles should not access this until they retire. From government
it can
service.
be kept and then they consolidate the whole thing and say, now you have retired. But you can't be receiving a pension as you receive salary
from the same consolidated fund.
But Honorable Semoju, you know, Katundu here grew up rich. He's a son of a chief.
Yes.
So you and I...
A police officer.
Senior security officer, not
special branch.
But Semoju, the question is to you. Katundu would not know, as I said, he was the son of a chief and all that, the lordship. But when you think about all this money and you growing up, your father had to make a decision. Today, should we buy beef or buy
Today
vijanja?
we buy beef.
Buy
Those things
vijanja.
are for Christmas and
For
Eid.
Christmas, yes.
Yeah.
So in Uganda now, when should we have beef?
Functions in the village.
When should we have beef and when should we have when should we have beef? When should we have vijanja? When should we have beans? This is the point I was trying to raise. Edgar, hold on. You're not yet on microphone. Yeah, Electoral Negotiation, you answer that.
I think, Oscar, the question you're asking is what we've been quarreling and grappling with.
Moses, we spud it here a little bit when funds are available. But it seems like no one cares about when funds are available. They just say statutory give.
You see, we have had a problem. We have had a problem.
But we know they are not available.
For a senior presidential advisor would depend on availability of funds. But the one of the former speaker, as they said, is statutory, meaning it will have to be there.
It's an entitlement.
Yeah, but the one we have an advisor of any other public officer is
the
can only
state
be
is saying you don't have money.
can only be bought if there is a bit of funds.
No, we have. We don't. How can you say we don't have money? We only have little money, but money we have.
Oscar, let me help you.
When you have little money. Yes.
There are people who are entitled to benefits. I represent many former workers of East Africa who are still knocking every office. They can't get their entitlement. So even if you are entitled to something, once money is not available, you will not get it on time. But Oscar, we've been discussing this matter each time we are processing a budget. During the COVID time, 2020, I think, the president addressed Parliament, and as he usually does, he said the team of General Saleh had identified 7 trillion in the budget that is wasted. And from now onwards, and that money also included many items, workshops, seminars, travel, etc. But surprisingly, it was never removed. It was never revised. Because what was supposed to follow was a revision of the budget. Those items are still there. I moved the motion in Parliament, Oscar, on vehicles.
It was a steel bath.
And the Minister of Public Service, Mururi Mukasa, requested Parliament to take it over. He said, because I even went for meetings in the Ministry of Public Service. And Mururi Mukasa said, no, you hold on, because we don't even know how many vehicles that we have bought for people who work for government. We are now doing, we are counting those vehicles. Then we'll come back and discuss with the Parliament. We reduce them by what percentage, etc. So the vehicles themselves, I guess a person like Secondly, okay, you want them to be driving nice vehicles, but is that the type and is that the amount that you must spend? Already has a vehicle for, because if he's entitled for a vehicle every 5 years, do you now give him 3? Yeah. And no, I'm saying that's what it is. So that's how the law was interpreted by the government deliberately. So is he going to? So Secondly will maintain a convoy of 3 vehicles. One as a former deputy speaker, another one. So and these things can only be stopped by Mr. Museveni. Oscar, why? When Museveni came here and he said every minister will have a Nissan Eraure and it is your vehicle, that was a government policy. Every minister had his vehicle, no maintenance. Today, we are spending 100 to 120 billion shilling on maintaining vehicles for public people. We are spending 150 to 160 billion shilling on fuel. Every year we change these vehicles and spend about 180 billion. So every year you are spending about 500 billion shilling on vehicles for public, these people who are in public, being driven on broken roads in Kampala, and then you provide only 40 billion to repair roads in Kampala. You must be insane that you provide 40 billion to do roads in Kampala, and then you are spending 500 billion shilling on maintaining, on fuel, on what? That's why my sister Betty Kanya said, and I think she said it in good faith,
that we are on our own.
That no. I understood her different. She was just saying that you people who are driving these small vehicles, you should be angry when money is being stolen. I think that's how I understood it.
Yeah. And that's what it was.
Yeah,
but of course,
right. But of course, people. But of course, people.
Not the common.
People misinterpreted it to present her like she was a. Yeah. But her point was that you should be angrier.
You are not annoyed enough.
Yeah, you should be angrier than me, because for me the facilities are provided at your expense. So you at your expense, who's these facilities? So really, this government of Biarahanga, we need to put it in Nambole and stone it to death. That you can provide only 40 billion to do roads in Kampala, and 500 billion shilling to buy, maintain and vehicles for people in public service being driven on broken roads in Kampala.
Don't wish it.
Wait. No.
I'm talking about government.
No, the Honorable
we have two lawyers in the studio, so
the Honorable.
I said stoning government. I didn't say stoning government.
But you said Biaruhanga.
No, I said this government of Biaruhanga. It's the government that we should take to Nambole and stone.
First of all, Honorable Semuju, I would expect him to know more about the roads in Kampala and Greater Kampala. The current the road infrastructure which is being worked on by KCCA, the budget is more than 40 billion. In fact, I think government borrowed 100 million pounds, something like that. If I can get the figure across along the way.
In the budget.
No, which was borrowed. This was borrowed.
No.
But yes, but the construction, the construction is going on. No, is the construction of the roads which is going on, like the one from Nakawa up to no, forget it. You see, the one is the budget.
Why stopping me?
Wait. If you talk about there's a budget for maintenance. The cases, the roads under construction today, like the ones like I mentioned, like MOBS, the one from MOBS, around MOBS University to Kitintale, the one from going to Gorobi and others are a project which is funded in the tune of $100 million, which will be about close to 400 billion, not 40 billion. Now the 400 million I talk about is for maintenance of the roads in Kampala.
No,
it's actually for both.
Then why have a budget if these things are not going to be included?
Yeah.
Then
I wanted also.
Abdul bought me a book, and every time Moses says these things, I need to read this book in December before December ends.
Again,
I haven't read it yet. The one of lying with statistics.
How to lie with statistics.
How to lie with statistics.
So
this thing is
I haven't read that one, but I wanted to correct.
I'm going to give it to you 2nd January. I'll give it to you.
I wanted you have a book which you owe me, but I wanted to just correct what I'm saying that there's more money. I think part of the problem in Kampala roads. I remember we had been promised that the construction would have started by February in the last financial year, which is now this same calendar year, but they didn't start until late. But the money was already there. Because that was a project which, as Abdul would say, maybe you needed voting because but you only vote for the government co-funding, but not for the loan, because the loan was passed once by Parliament. On some of the areas, I would raise about the supplementary. Yes, if government comes, you see, it's also a question of political tactic. If I want to do a road, for instance, and Parliament says, no, that one we are not funding.
It's not a priority.
For Parliament, but for me as government, it's a priority.
No, but the reason you bring the money,
Parliament has the people of Uganda.
No, but also the president is elected by the people of Uganda.
Then why do you bring your money to Parliament?
That's why I'm saying.
The reason why there is a president at the Parliament is to check each other.
Fine.
And authority is given appropriation to Parliament.
You see, Abulu, for instance.
Otherwise, we would have given it just to the president.
For instance, some of the money for the oil roads, it was included in the supplementary, and Parliament has not passed it.
No.
So, and should the road stop? Construction of the road stop because Parliament has not passed it. So that will cause a friction.
But I started by saying poor planning.
No, it wasn't poor planning. Some of these items.
I don't think we need just to try to be smart.
Had been included.
If there's something wrong, Moses,
some of these items had been included in the budget. Parliament rejected them, and government felt they were necessary to be spent on money, and that's why we included them in the 3%. Like rural electrification, people want electricity. Even you parliamentarians want electricity in your areas.
Moses, you know, on this table, it's Abdul and Edgar, we are from the private sector, big time. Would you think, like, later, if you're out of government and someone can come and sue you that you went ahead and built an oil road without the permission of Parliament?
No.
Would you be liable?
No, with the moment we get supplementary approval, there's no illegality.
But
I've
if
seen
you've
that
started
there's an
with before the
expenditure
supplementary
plan.
budget, so that is an illegality.
No, I said no. If the 3% they have explained to you, the 3% allows the executive on issues like this one, where I think that could have been, or they say the lawyers will tell you what was the reasoning behind. The 3% gives the executive authority to spend money on some items and go to Parliament for approval after they have spent or in the process of spending. They don't need to get prior approval before they spend.
Yeah, but you see, let
him first finish.
No, he needs to know this.
Let him first finish.
In this case, the areas as specified in the 3% that we have spent on this. On these areas, we are going to spend on these areas. We are informing you to approve after. You cannot change anything in that one, the 3%. You can change in the other areas, but not in the 3% because the government has already committed itself. And I think it should give the executive authority, where they have disagreed with Parliament on expenditure, but the executive thinks this is critical.
And the Parliament thinks that this is also critical on their part. What happens?
Imagine in a situation like in the American situation where you find at some stage the party in the opposition has a majority in the Parliament and the executive. But you also say, for instance, like in the current America, you have
where they denied the money.
You have the Republicans being majority in the Congress, and the chief executive, the president, is a Democrat. So you can have such a situation in Uganda where Parliament is a majority, is the opposition, and the president is from another party. So this,
in theory, that can happen in Uganda.
This gives the leeway to the executive to spend on what they think is a priority.
Let me just one thing. One, I think it is also wrong politics and wrong thinking to imagine that because there is a side called the opposition, they must oppose the sitting government.
They can.
They can be bipartisan.
You can even have opposition from within your own party. Like these partial rejections we had in the Parliament.
By all of us.
NRM members refused. And then let me ask you, Moses, assuming, and we have that instance where we rejected an expenditure, they came for parliamentary approval, and we declined. Would that be a legal expenditure?
Well, how would you decline the 3%?
No, we said no.
You can,
we did. We said this one, we had rejected it. You can't bring it through the back door. This one, if you spend, that is your business. And we never gave that authority. So what you are trying to do when you have that thinking, Moses?
We need a legal interpretation.
Anyway, let me tell you.
But also, Oscar.
There is no court who say, can you prove? Can you approve? Because I said I can't approve. I don't believe in it.
But the 3% allows you to spend.
But Oscar,
we rejected. We refused that.
Oscar,
Semuju, yes. Go on, Semuju.
You see the point.
Yeah.
What?
Let me have Semuju and then Edgar conclude this.
What Moses forgets is that even the 3% is qualified. The items that you can spend without prior parliamentary approval must be unforeseen, must be only an emergency. That's what the law says. So, yeah, you need to read. You can actually Google it. It's available. So it's not open-ended that you can go and spend on anything and then come back and tell Parliament approve. The law says it must be unforeseen. For example, if you have a flood, as you said, if bridges have collapsed, you need money and you can go actually and spend, because you may never have budgeted
a natural disaster
that Katonga will be washed away by the rain.
Though you can budget for Bududa or Katonga, so
yeah, so those ones
are very predictable.
Yeah, no, Katonga. I mean, I have used Katonga all my life. It has never broken. So those things that for which you cannot wait even a minute to fix, you can go and spend and come to Parliament. What Biarhanga is insisting, Moses Biarhanga is insisting on, is actually what government does. They just bring anything, because oil roads cannot be an emergency, as if oil is starting to move tomorrow. That's why Parliament said there is no way Parliament will stop funding of a project that is ongoing.
I hope this will be a safe conclusion, unlike last week.
I know you like to push me against the wall, but in a pre-industrial economy, pre-industrial, pre-scientific, I don't like, I've been warned about using this term, but anyway, I'll use it. in a primordial economy, rent seekers, patron, priorities are going to be skewed for the sitting government and responding to the pressures of
in short, we are going to remain poor.
No. In short, unless and until persons in our space, as long as people in our space, you and I in our space, don't hold our leaders to account, they will behave with impunity and the indiscipline shall multiply. I beg to submit.
This is a good time to go for a break.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
If you try to imagine the taste of a regular cup of coffee as a sound, it would probably sound like this. Not nice, but perhaps it may sound like this. Better, but not great. Now allow us to present the sound of the taste of Star Cafe Premium Coffee. Now that's the sound of a great coffee taste. Because only the finest Ugandan coffee goes into making the Star Cafe Premium. It's great. The greatest coffee experience.
Stuck in the same meal routine. Stuck in the same meal routine. Stuck in the same meal routine. Don't live life on repeat. Enjoy Minute Maid Refresh, full of flavor to refresh every meal. After all, meal times are more filled with life when you are refreshed. So fill those precious moments with a refreshing burst of flavor with Minute Maid Refresh in delicious mango, apple, and orange flavors. Minute Maid, filled with life. The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang. At Semoyam Soke, this is on Twitter. Eddie Ruma says the money for lenders. Eddie? Pardon?
Eddie Ruma.
No, it is Ed Hiruma.
Eddie Ruma. That's a Soga name.
Eddie Ruma. Okay. The money for lenders accumulated as a result of money deducted from employees for loans but not remitted to the financial institutions. Is that possible?
That's what happened. In Uganda, things are possible. You can even imagine that government can deduct money from its employees and doesn't remit to the
But it happens not only with the government, Oscar.
Even the SSF, they do it.
Yeah, I have seen where...
From money lenders?
No. Lenders, you can, maybe banks, even banks.
Okay.
These are financial institutions.
Because if you have obligation for staff to pay banks for money they have picked, you may pay their salary and then you pay the banks later. But I think in this case, they did not pay.
I know.
It happens in all organizations.
In our organization, you want a loan from a bank, we give you a recommendation, the bank gives you money. So
No, what happens, other institutions, they undertake. They undertake,
Yeah.
and then they say they deduct from source.
Yeah.
Meaning, the employer
Yeah.
deducts the money and remits it to the financial institution. And this particular case, government institutions were doing that. They
And
were
not
deducting,
remitting.
but then they were not remitting,
And-
like
and-
they have done for
and-
NSSF in the private sector.
And Oscar, you can't get a better answer from that one other than from a parliamentarian. But on the other note,
Which is true.
Private companies where they are not...
No,
making
but
money
the point
from
I'm
the
making,
system.
Which is true.
Listen, I won't go into detail, but the point I wanted to clarify.
Because the MPs borrow too much and...
They borrow and parliament remits.
Please. Yeah. So the MPs have a good experience on that. But I wanted to clarify, Oscar. You were mentioning that this thing came in a week where the speaker gave vehicles to former speakers, and that has been clarified by Abdu and Semuju. Now, but he also brought in the issue that the president in the same week gave 1.2 billion to circles from the ghetto. I think that one is not.
that is classified.
No, it's not.
We don't know.
It's not a show of expenditure. I'm not calling it so, because it's the president. These are people. These are Ugandans in these ghettos. They need financial services. If you go there, you find the young people, they are making shoes, they are making this, but they want some financial inclusion, some form of financial inclusion. And now, wait. They need some financial inclusion. So a team went and worked on them. They organized them because they feel they are left out in the government systems. And then they formed into circles through which they can borrow. And
then they are given 1.2 billion.
I have met many of them.
You know, that's not in contention.
Before,
and a lot of other people need that money. That's not in contention.
One day I met a group from Kawempe. They said,
that's not in contention.
Somebody is saying we are making, they are knitting, they are making sweaters. They're making shoes.
You are setting your own questions and answering them.
Different things. So,
that's not in contention.
So, no,
what is in contention is money.
The way you brought it is as if it is just you are spending anyhow.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No,
he said in a 1 week this country has released a lot of money. Do we have it? And
that's the money. By the time you release the money, you have. So for me, the issue is
speaking from experience in the 2000s, early 2000s. He was very critical in arranging for funding for borders.
Yeah, and I did it, and I don't regret.
I'm not saying it's something you should be regretting. I'm saying you're speaking from experience.
I know these groups. I've worked with them closely. So funding them.
I think it is good to fund them.
It's very
but
good.
if it is not planned, not budgeted, not what,
the matter
is a problem.
The government independence pays that is the budget. Because we spend his money from the budget.
Maybe after the show I'll try and understand these things because they seem
made
complex.
My position clear.
No, we've gone to Congo.
Oh, DRC.
So the election, you're the lawyer in here. So what technique did they use to have an election going into the next day? And when shall we get the results? And will your man succeed?
Which is man?
Tshisekedi. I was a part of the group that brought him to Kampala and made the critical introductions. And Kampala was very critical in getting consensus. First of all, as a candidate, they had, if you recall,
you first go to my question. Yes.
The election.
Who's winning
has
the
been
election?
A logistical nightmare. 44 million registered voters. It cost $1.2 billion US.
Which they had?
Yeah, they had it.
Okay.
Their budget is 18 billion US dollars. An area, the landmass area of the DRC is 2.4 million.
What is it? 78,000 polling stations.
Yeah, 75,000 candidates for president, parliamentary, provincial assemblies, up to the territorial, what they call territoire. Territoire, what would be the equivalent of territoire here in Uganda?
Something.
I know you want to point out county, some local governments, because they have a semi-federal. They have some autonomy in their provinces. So the election materials arrived in the country as late as the 9th of December. They required 7 specialized aircrafts, which they didn't have, to deliver the materials to the remotest areas of the country.
And they didn't know they were required there?
Well, you'll get to understand what the DRC is like when we talk some more.
It was unforeseen.
No, they actually got assistance from Angola, and ironically, they requested for assistance from the UN that they are kicking out. But the biggest challenge was on the quality of the voting cards. The quality of the voting cards was poor. Then not all the voting materials arrived at polling stations. Some of the materials arrived a day after. So that's why they had to push the polling to the next day. No, Congo is not what you think it is. Many Ugandans, when you talk about Congo, your average Ugandan elite. No, you see, many Ugandans think that Congo is a jungle. But part of it is, but many people, that's what comes to the people's minds. Just like how Europeans think about Africa. Now, Kinshasa is a metropolis. We all drive on Kampala roads. You can't compare Kampala roads to Kinshasa. You can't even compare Kampala roads to Lubumbashi. Even Goma Airport is busier than our Entebbe International Airport. So you see, the impression that is created they have many internal flights. Yeah. The impression that is created of Congo is the impression that we have of the Eastern DRC. The Eastern DRC are Swahili speakers. They are very disconnected from the rest of the country. Now, you particularly pointed out Maikande Tshisekedi.
Yeah. Is he doing well?
Yeah, he's doing very well in the elections. Believe me, all predictions are very clear.
Even last time he did well?
Last time...
In Africa, the moment you have the capacity to announce yourself or to get announced...
No, in the last election...
I was trying to find a message. Because there was information that maybe his opponent was...
Moise Katumbi? Never.
The one that starts with far...
Let me tell you, Katumbi belongs to a secessionist movement. Yeah. He's from Katanga. Let me tell you a bit about Tshisekedi. Tshisekedi speaks all the 4 major lingua francas of Kinshasa, or rather of Congo. He speaks Kiswahili. Listen to me. He listens to Kiswahili. I speak to him in Kiswahili. Although my Kiswahili is a bit broken, but we communicate. For instance, when we are referring to M23, we don't say shirini na tatu. We say makumi wawili na tatu. And we are able to what? To communicate. He speaks Kiswahili. He speaks Kituba. He speaks Lingala.
Theoretically has sent away Uganda and Rwanda, and he has said he will not sit at the same table with Rwanda. So all this is posturing for the election?
No, it's not posturing for the election. It is the real mood in Kinshasa. And I want you to look at, I sent a picture to your inbox. I don't know whether you looked at it.
I'll have a look at it now.
Please look at it and tell the listeners who are in that picture.
But anyway, so you think he's going to win?
He's won that election.
He has won the election.
That election, yeah.
And as Semuju says, he's won the election because he's the one who will announce the result.
No, not necessarily. He's been. Because let me tell you his delivery points. One, for the first 2 years of his term, Tshisekedi was working towards consolidating his position as president. President Kabila still ran the show until the 3rd year, when he was able to muscle opposition and there were crossings from the opposition in both the lower and the upper house of their national assemblies. 2, he grew the budget from $4.7 billion to $18 billion.
By doing what?
1, how did he do it? 1, he renegotiated the infrastructure for minerals deals with China. And actually kicked out some.
The spokesperson of Tshisekedi.
No, listen, he made it very clear. Yes, I have my bias. And please permit me, just in case you feel uncomfortable, go and read Article 29
but I have said
of what is left of our Constitution.
Just one sentence.
Just what is left of our Constitution. 3, he introduced free primary education. I know free primary education has been with us for how many? 25, 20, nearly 30 years. It seems something, commonplace. But in the Republic of Congo, it means so much. 2, he's introduced free medical care for expectant mothers, including cesarean whatever, C-section deliveries. 4, he has delivered, rather 5, he's delivered on critical infrastructure, particularly in Kinshasa.
Okay. You first pause there and we go to Moses Biaranga here. So, Moses, I don't know how much you can speak about a foreign country, but you agree that Congo makes us look good in terms of elections, managing elections.
Well, I've not followed. I haven't followed the election process.
You're not on the microphone, but we'll come to you.
Listen.
I've not followed the election.
He can't even look Abdu in the eye when he says such a statement.
No, you see,
see how Abdu is looking at you.
I haven't followed the.
You don't look good. this show,
Oscar,
this show has been for Moses not looking good.
Oscar,
You don't want to say poor Moses.
Oscar, there was in the 90s there was a PS called Uganda-DRC for agriculture, and there was a Valley Dams scandal. You know who were involved. So they asked him about a news reporter that appeared the previous day in the New Vision, and he gave a very safe answer. That I'm out of the country and I've not yet read that newspaper. Likewise with Moses, he has not followed the election.
But that's true. I have not. I only
used to
knew.
call him when he was Minister of State for Defense. So he halfway the interview, if you ask the question he can't answer, he says, the telephone number you have called.
Please,
I am telling you.
please.
Let me switch off their
Abraham,
microphones.
please.
But they are making a lot of noise.
Let them. I've switched off all their microphones.
You see.
Yeah.
No, the only thing I knew about the Congolese election.
Yes.
The only thing I knew about the Congolese election was it was taking place on the 20th of December. I'm waiting for the result. But as a patriotic Ugandan, I would be happy if President Sekedi wins the election, because at least with his presidency, he allowed the Ugandan forces to work with Congolese forces to deal with ADF in Congo. So that is a very, very big advantage for Uganda, that we have had a president who has allowed us officially to work with the Congolese army to fight ADF within Congo. It provides security for Uganda, and when the security within Congo and within our borders, we shall trade more with Congo. So it is good for our economy to deal with Congo or on trade. At the same, so we will just wait for the results. But President Sekedi, with his diplomatic relations with Uganda, I would be happy if he wins.
Right. Abdul. There's even Mwanga Morris here telling you that Sekandi and Kadaga didn't ask for those things. It's just the law. If Katuntu wants to change, let him go and amend the law. Sorry, I beg your pardon?
Sekandi had gone away with the vehicle of a speaker, he says until they have given him his vehicle in the law. So let that guy not lie. We know about these things. So when he was he went away with the vehicle for the speaker.
Anyway, Congo.
These things, if you are listening, really, these things, we don't have to further this debate conversation. It doesn't look good. If you think it is so, that's your opinion. Anyway, first of all, I'm really surprised that a senior presidential advisor of President Yoweri Museveni can say that he doesn't know anything about the DRC. He hasn't followed.
Honorable Katutu, you are being unfair to Moses. He's in a situation where he's uncomfortable.
Edgar, calm down.
Well, if you did follow, then you don't know what's going on. I'm really surprised. Because
I am with you on that one.
And that is not the Moses I know.
Yeah.
And I think he was...
Because Congo is very central to Uganda.
It's not even possible. The Moses, you and me and the public...
And President Tshisekedi was here only recently.
No, he was supposed to come for an official visit, but it was coming to elections. He was advised to have a phone call instead of the president. But his advance team had already come.
Anyway, as a neighbor, and this Moses is right, we do wish our neighbors to have stable situations in their jurisdictions, in their countries, especially a country like Congo, because with the stability of Congo, especially in eastern Congo, Uganda has a lot to benefit from it. Because of the size of DRC, eastern Congo may trade more with its neighbors than even with Kinshasa, so long as there is some infrastructure.
Eastern Congo is 3,800 kilometers.
Can you imagine?
Yet it's only 1,500 kilometers from Mombasa.
You see? So that alone, and with the population they have, I think it is within Ugandan's interest that that place is stable. We can have a mutual benefit and so on. Did they expect any change? Really, Congo has not demonstrated to be one of those very democratic countries on the continent that can reflect the will, the political will of its population. Not yet. I don't think they are yet there. Because even
than Uganda, they cheat elections but change presidents.
I don't know what is better with the what. If you cheat and you change and you cheat and you don't change whether. So to me, we are looking at countries, for example, on the continent like Ghana, like Botswana, and so on, or even Tanzania, where you know that there is some democracy and whatever goes there, Malawi, it is the true will of the people. So I don't think Congo is already there. But even if they cheat like Honorable Semuju says, but somehow they manage to get a stable government, we can't, first of all, interfere in their internal politics. But for us, but they are. I know Edgar is
your microphone is not
is a spokesperson
Wait, you're going to
of
speak
the.
Last on
Is a spokesperson of President Tshisekedi, but
in Uganda.
In Uganda, but then that's not a big deal. So let's look at it this way: whether they cheat, so long as it is stable, for us, we just demand stability of that area. The cheating, they can sort themselves, so because it can't be a business. Secondly, Oscar, they are now part of the East African community. And, you know, to have a community where you have Somalia, they are shooting each other, you have Eastern Congo shooting each other. South Sudan is a little bit stable these days. They aren't shooting so much. I mean, it doesn't all go well for the region. And even the benefits we are thinking would be accruing as a result of having a bigger bloc may not come. If Eastern Congo is engaged in this M23 rebellion, massacring, I'm not so sure whether there will be any benefit arising from that particular part of the country. We wish them well.
Remember Semuju?
But Moses should say sorry.
For pretending. You see, Oscar, Congo officially is important, but also unofficially. If you've been looking at the figures by Minister of Finance, the mineral export in Uganda, the money we get from mineral export, overtook at one time tourism and so we are getting a lot of money from minerals. All these minerals are being stolen from Congo. and
this is national.
They are being stolen from Congo. And
this is national radio.
Yes, and I'm saying this with authority. In fact, in one of the meetings, Oscar, with the president and URA and the dealers, because you know we are in court in and out, the dealers were contesting a law passed by Parliament, charging them per kilogram. They actually wanted to charge a ton, something like that. And in that meeting of the president, the URA, and the dealers, the president asked URA, and I know this for a fact, that please be slow, because these minerals are brought from somewhere. So if you move hard, they will go and traffic through another country. And that's why it has remained the way it is. So I'm not saying things out of... so I know it is fact. So the Congo is very important. And I know Moses knows it more than me. So the
Moses has not been following these things.
No.
You said what?
But I have also, Oscar, visited...
other than elections.
I have visited Arua. I have visited Bunagana. In fact, if you go in Chisoro, at the border, most of the items that are sold in Congo are items from Uganda. And that's why I had difficulties. I didn't want to be emotional like other people about doing a road in Congo. Having visited Bunagana, I understood why someone would want to do a road in Congo. Because if it's your big market, you may want to facilitate it. The trouble is that when all the roads in Kampala are broken, to get people to understand will be very difficult when you are doing a road in a foreign country. So here the Congo is very important. The Congo is better than Uganda, Oscar. They have term limits because they changed their constitution in 2006. Tshisekedi, if he wins, if he gets his way into a second term, he will be leaving in 5 years.
It will be his last term.
Will be his last term. So even if you cheat elections, we can allow you to cheat, and then you will perfect, and then you will have a country that is comfortable. Because in Uganda here, they will cheat election, they will shoot people, they will do everything, and then you are still ruling at a gunpoint. But also give them credit. When Kabila had refused, because the elections were being postponed, Kabila wanted to continue. They were able to successfully raise up against Kabila until he was forced to organize elections and he left.
But some people are asking this time around, why was the election held amidst all the chaos in Congo right now?
No, you have to. Even under Kabila.
Yeah.
Those were part of the reasons. We don't have enough money, we don't have this and that. So you can imagine that a country with a conflict in a part of, in Eastern DRC, that they're able to organize an election. The legitimate mayor, as he has explained, they are forgivable. They are forgivable. At least you can see a country on a journey. It's not like ours where the Moses will organize elections and cheat them and shoot. Because at least you cheat elections, but you shoot people as well.
We cheat elections and Semuju becomes an MP. I don't know why you don't cheat Semuju.
Even under Obote, Obote cheated Semogere, but some opposition MPs went through. In fact, he didn't. He was not as bad-mannered as you.
And that one I disagree with you.
He was not as bad-mannered as you.
Obote never cheated the election. That I disagree with you.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible if you have arrested the competitor.
Is President
yes.
If you have arrested the competitor, certainly yours will go through unopposed.
True. The Edgar Tabaro, conclude on this topic. And the question to you is, so when will the election be announced? And two, will there be court proceedings or there's a general satisfaction that elections are going on?
No,
well?
for the president to be sworn in, the Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court, has to affirm, has to certify under the French system. So any person who has any grievances or any misgivings may present. But on this occasion, it's going to be a tall order for Moise Katumbi. He's a secessionist, and Tshisekedi has outsmarted his domestic, regional, and international detractors. They thought they would hold him at bay. He has formed critical alliances, importantly, also with the Catholic Church. Now, in the DRC, the Catholic Church is very important. It holds sway on very many things. And it's the one that actually forced Kabila to hold the elections.
Where is it in the world where the Catholic Church is not?
I grew up under the Roman Catholic tradition, so I don't want
you're
to.
You're everywhere and you're so influential.
Elections for you and you go through. You really be stupid not to be able to cheat for yourself.
But let me. Let me correct the impression. Let me correct the impression.
In just 1 minute, there's someone here tells you, he says, Edgar, be careful. It's John in Canberra says, be careful. The reason why Goma Airport is busier than Entebbe Airport is because there are no roads in Eastern DRC to talk about.
That's beyond.
There is complete lack of road network connecting the whole country.
Will run empty and leave
let me put some things in context. You're talking of chaos. I know you're talking of war. The areas that are at war in the Eastern DRC, 100th, 1 out of 100 of the area of that country. It's the M23, which is Masisi, Rutshuru, and they've even failed to take Sake. Those are very small territories, even smaller than Bugiri district of the Honorable Katuntu. Yeah?
You know, with the country, with the country, even if you are
speaking it in French,
with the country, even if you have a conflict in a village,
yes, please,
it is a conflict.
You come from the media side. It's like in the northeastern part of Uganda, Karamoja, and the adjacent area in Turkana and Kenya. Those are lawless areas, and but
the lawlessness, I think it's a bad comparison.
Okay, let me bring a better comparison that will make you uncomfortable. For 20 years, we had insurgency in Acholi. Weren't we holding elections?
We were holding elections.
Wasn't Konyi in control of some territories in northern Uganda?
No, never in control of a territory.
He lodged an attack in Gulu one time when you people were captured. Gulu barracks.
Lodging an attack doesn't mean you control territory. That's why different.
That's what I agree with.
But when you holding elections,
Edgar, this lawyer politician.
Control territory.
The other impression I had.
No.
You remember when?
Must answer a very simple question.
Yes.
When will the election be announced?
It's very likely that the results will be announced by Monday.
By Monday.
Okay.
And then after the Supreme Court, what time do they have for, like in Uganda? Elections are held in February, and the president is installed. In May.
No, January. The president takes oath of office in January.
Okay.
Now there are some other things I need to put. You remember when Nigeria was transitioning from military rule to democratic rule, not necessarily civilian, because it returned the generals in the elections. You remember how chaotic Honorable Katutu the elections were that brought in General Basanjo. You remember people holding ballot boxes and running away with them. But generally the world gave them an opportunity to transit. And you can see where they've reached.
They are moving on.
They've transferred the power between incumbents and opposition. And you can see they're on the trajectory of what? So really, from where Congo has come, from the time of
You
Mobutu,
make a good point. Because
really, then on the part of Uganda, the economics of Uganda, I like to create the impression that Semuju has created. There's nothing like robbery of minerals. General Yoweri Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, was very emphatic and intentional and categorical when he was attracting the Africa gold refineries at off Sewogawa Road in Entebbe. As a result of that refinery coming to Uganda, this is what happened to refine gold. Do you know we're even attracting gold from as far as Gambia to come and do their refinery here? Even Tanzanians now are preferring Uganda for their refineries. So
we have gold coming in legally.
Legally, it's not robbed. And more importantly, gold is a medium of exchange. So Ugandan goods are purchased using gold because the DRC currency is illiquid. It's not convertible. You cannot convert it into Uganda shillings. Same as South Sudan. So if you look at the Bank of Uganda figures...
why can Burundi pay in gold?
If you look at... let us not discuss Burundi. We are discussing DRC. I know why you want to drag me in that direction.
No. The president last night said that Uganda Airlines has $10 million dollars all over the world, including Burundi, that does not have dollars.
And I'm coming to that. And that's how our...
We have run out of time.
That's how our currency has stabilized. The gold re-exports from Uganda are inversely proportional to the commodities that are exported from Uganda to that part of the world, DRC and Sudan. So the impression that we steal that gold is not correct. It is coming here legally, willing seller, willing buyer. And that's what has stabilized our economy. If you look at the currencies among others, if you look at the currencies, in sub-Saharan Africa, Uganda's currency has performed the best. And that is the major reason.
Moses is going to give you a bit more of his time. Those are the things those are
Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM. This week on Desert Island Discs.
My guest is Nyombi Tembo.
Every evening would go and play Madina.
Right.
That's how now I become the best soloist in the festival of 1974 at 10.
But for you were a good hunter. You were the best at you didn't know how to do things averagely.
Yeah, I think it was commitment.
Yes.
I would commit everything I wanted to do. I would give it my all and learn well. And my vocal was reasonably good. Up to today, when I jump on the microphone and sing a few moments I've sung. Yes, it's a bit
But
hoarse,
you have a microphone right in front of you.
Oh, that's what another day.
Desert Island Discs. Talking success every Sunday at 7 p.m. with Flavia on Capital FM.
Keep it locked, baby.
Fresh hits for Uganda.
We know that you got big dreams to grow your business, so don't just sit back. Come to NTBA Bank, the home of asset finance. Get up to 95% financing on saloon cars, commercial vehicles, PSVs, trailers, and equipment ranging from medical, construction, industrial, and agriculture. Visit any NCBA branch or call our toll-free line 0800 222 123 or 0800 388 132 today. NCBA Bank Uganda Limited, regulated by Bank of Uganda, and customer deposits are protected protected by the Deposit Protection Fund up to 10 million shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back from the break. Next week, in our conclusions of the year, please start collecting. Send your list and on X, formerly Twitter, to @Semweyamsoki at Capital FM Uganda, and make a list of what we can review of 2023, the good, the bad, and the not so good. Greens Sime disagrees with Edgar Tabar. He says re-election of President Felix Tshisekedi is very much insignificant to our regional stability and indeed bad news. He is already at loggerheads with President Kagame and President Ruto and regional leaders. He doesn't believe in political dialogue. That's Greens Kansime, a regular listener. BMK Gift says, I am enjoying this, but tell Edgar to stop heckling and listen. We changed topics. I beg your pardon. We haven't done Sudan because there was breaking news. Even the one for the president, we'll address that next week. But let's go to NUP and the opposition in parliament. And, NUP yesterday.
You're saying there's breaking news in Sudan?
No, I beg your pardon. I meant yesterday's breaking news of change in the opposition in parliament. So, Honorable Abdul Katuntu, it's your turn to congratulate our young parliamentarian, Honorable Senyonyi, on being appointed designate leader of opposition. Do you know this gang could have been very different? Because a little while ago, Honorable Semuji also stood for speakership of parliament. So, people that pass by gang go to big places.
Me.
Pardon?
They are wrong, undermined me.
But I remember I asked you what madness had befallen you. I asked you.
Is that what you will say when I go for the presidency, Oscar?
That one I'll even ask in Uganda.
First of all, you would have congratulated Ibrahim Semuju here because he has also been appointed, I think, the Shadow Minister of Finance, Planning and so on. Congratulations,
Honorable Semuju.
Yeah,
Moses congratulated him at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't in the studio at that time. What can I say? One, it will always be a hard decision to take, especially if you want to have a cohesive group within Parliament working together. Reshuffles sometimes are a little bit uneasy because other people who have been occupying places are being dropped. This, we saw it coming for some time. It has been a public debate. And I think the National Unity Platform strategy now, at this particular point in time, they think they should have another leader of the stature, character, or strategy of Senyon. And you can't begrudge them. We can only wish them well. My only view is that they took this having learned from the past actions of different political parties that changed leadership. If there are weaknesses that arose as a result of that decision, they took that into consideration. Mathias Mpuga, one, extremely intelligent, smart, both figuratively and literally. He's got a master of both the Queen's language and the Kabaka's language. He's quick-witted, Mathias. And he had cultivated that stature in the House. Even those who on the other side, when he stood up, they have to listen. It would be very difficult to engage Mathias if you are a pedestrian thinker. And many of them who tried really were not looking very good. He can engage in a debate at a very sophisticated level.
Or at any level.
And he mastered his language, he's quick-witted and so on. So as far as leader of opposition, in my view, Mathias has done extremely well in Parliament. There is no issue which raises a critical issue, and if you tell him, please, what do you have to say, and he doesn't he has nothing to say. Everybody in that house respects Mathias. I hope there's something to learn from him by Joe when he comes in. I can only wish them well. Mathias has been a very good one. I can only compare him to Professor Latigo. Equally good and articulate and respectable leaders of opposition. NUP has its own strategies, and I think now it is the man to steer the ship is Senyonyi. Wish them well.
Moses, congratulations to our Joel here.
Well, congratulations to the Honorable Joel Senyonyi, MP Nakawa. Is it East or West? One of those. And also congratulations to Mathias Mpuga for the term he has served. In the last, or maybe 1 year or so, maybe 6 months to 1 year, has been a bit evident that Mathias will not be reappointed, because
that one you have been following.
I've been following.
What a weekend!
The other one is foreign relations, because
he has taken it 1 year ago.
Yeah. I deal with internal relations, not foreign. So yeah. I could see it was coming, because and I hope. During this time when they were leading the opposition, like when Professor Latigo was changed,
he was never changed.
They
would have reappointed.
There's someone. So,
or when Nikiza was changed.
Yes, but here when Nikiza was changed. Thank you for the reminder. You could see there was unity within the party moving together. But here, in the last 6 months, you have been seeing Mpuga being accused of certain things, blah, blah, blah. You could hear some rumors in the papers here and there, on social media. The others, people seeing the original people power group, saying you people who came to join are not as good as us.
They are not people power.
They are not people power. So
in your NRM language, you call them historicals.
They were historicals, yeah. So there were historicals and creepers. So that's why I say I saw it coming. And one time I remember I told Joel here, I think we're going to meet the next leader of opposition. I was just speaking aloud, but he's become one. So the point I'm raising here is that will they remain united, or is this a sign of breakaways? So there's a lot to see in the next 1.5 years, but the way it moved, my prediction is that there is something is cracking.
Edgar Tabaro.
And once again, I congratulate you. Now we've been talking about supplementary. Now that it is the shadow minister of finance.
So he's going to be in there.
He's a very big person.
Yeah, that's why he already knew the KCCA budget that you did not allow him to read. But
I process a budget, Oscar. So how can I not know?
He's a member of the budget committee.
Yes.
And before you came, I did announce that I've received a gift hamper. Came in on Thursday from the Honorable Mpuga, leader of opposition in Parliament. Yes. And Moses also gave us.
That the last function he performed?
Perhaps.
In January, we shall get one from the
incoming, since he's our own.
For New Year.
Yes. And whilst you're away, Moses also gave new notes here. Everyone received new notes, apart from, I think, Edgar.
I'd be happy to receive my notes.
No, you are not receiving. You go and receive from Shikedi.
No, Edgar's car is inconvertible.
It's inconvertible.
but Edgar, on NUP reshuffle.
NUP, okay, I wish to congratulate Joe.
Were you surprised, Joe, becoming leader of opposition?
Senyonyi, I gave Senyonyi his first job. When I was managing director at Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. He said it on air when we were together.
Yeah.
And Senyonyi is a very brilliant fellow. He's a bit of a diamond that needs polishing. And he has come of age, but there are many things he still needs to work on. if he can accept positive criticism and feedback. He's only 34 years.
37.
No, not yet 37. I remember
Whatever, in that range.
In that range. No, he can't be 37.
But he's in that range.
But isn't Bobby Wine 37?
We don't have to have accuracy on that one. Gentlemen.
Bobby Wine has stagnated at 37.
We don't need accuracy.
We're not talking about Bobby Wine.
I'm giving context to it.
It is not necessary context. We are talking about Joel Senyonyi.
Joel Senyonyi.
Yes, please go ahead.
Joel Senyonyi represents a generation that is very different from ours. I told you I was at university with Honorable Semoju. He's 48, I'm 47.
No, I am 50. Me, I went to school when
I know you didn't do nursery school, but that is okay.
He went to primary when he was 11.
You're contesting his age now. No. But I think the Honorable Mpuga Matthias is 48. Now, those of us who are in that age bracket, believe me, do not necessarily represent the demographics of Uganda. In 2026,
but the MK movement is bringing a youth.
I'm talking about Joel Senyonyi, the Honorable Joel Senyonyi. He's closer to the demographic statistics of Uganda. In 2026, we're having another 10 million voters going on the electoral roll. The 81% of the voters in 2026 will be between the age of 18 and 30. Now, Joel Senyonyi, being a media figure, an intelligent fellow, and quite frankly, will be appealing to that age group.
And as Abdu said, he's articulate in both the English and the Luganda.
No, that is Matthias.
But I'm saying Senyonyi
as well. Senyonyi as well.
Yeah.
And I think in Outlook...
What is Edgar driving at? He said he will be appealing. You mean is he going to be the president of no?
There's word that he will contest for president, and back behind the scenes, there's been.
He's not.
Let me tell you,
he's not as mad as Semoju yet.
But Semoju has matured as well.
I think Edgar concentrates more on Kinshasa. Really.
I know you are very uncomfortable when we go in that area.
So you're thinking NUP has made a good choice.
Okay, I take your advice in good faith. So he's going to be more appealing to that crowd. Honorable Matthias Mpuga appeared a little elitist. Ex-Buganda minister, Buganda Kingdom minister. Isn't he like a third term or maybe fourth term, fifth term MP like the Honorable Katutu and the Honorable Semoju? So, and you remember when he was organizing, what was that group? Walk to Work, in which Katuto walked only once in Nakawa. I think the soles of the shoes squeezed him so hard. Then he went back to drive his Jaguar. But you remember,
at first I thought it was really then there was an interaction.
But you remember actually the architect for Walk to Work was Mpuga. But he remained operating from the what? Behind the scenes and sending text messages on WhatsApp and what have you.
Same as Katun.
I'm going to drive the point home. Joel has been on the streets with his principle. So I think, to put it in the manner in which Moses has put it, there's been some friction between the creepers and the original 27 of the Bush War of Bobby Wine People Power. And I think it represents a shift to the radical group. The radical group that is led by Lewis Wogon, the Secretary General of NUP.
They're radical. You know, as we go to Semoju smiling here, one person calling Mpuga elitist, when he himself should have been talking about us, the elitists, Tabaro, Attorney General, and so on. You are family in Mpuga class.
Yes, it's true. I appear as elitist. But you come to Torah and find me among tick placards.
You don't appear, you are.
I'm not elitist, You come to Torah, you'll see.
By the way, it is a compliment.
You can call it a compliment, but for us revolutionaries, it's not a compliment for us. Revolutionaries like I and Moses
Don't spoil this. Honorable Semoju, NUP.
Let me begin by congratulating the Honorable Joel Senyonyi. Is of the same background, media person, and also for him to be a leader of opposition in the first term in Parliament. And of course, thank the Honorable Mpuga. Mpuga and I met when we were in senior 2. There are two issues at Parliament. The first, and historically, how do you relate to your headquarter when you're at Parliament? There is usually a problem. Are you still, does the headquarter still feed you? And that usually caused the problem even within the FDC. You need to speak to Professor Genga Ratigo. At one time, he had to tell his headquarter, please, I'm not picking orders from there. Let me read. So usually when you are a leader of opposition, you must be mindful.
Or
but
when
also,
you had the factions in FDC,
but also in the
militant and the diplomatic.
But also in the Ugandan context, an MP is not a very popular person with the ordinary supporters of political parties. I remember one time, the Honorable Wafula was telling me about MPs. They will drive to Najana and Kumi, their huge vehicles, to go and force a decision. So the MPs, they are not usually popular with the base of political parties. First of all, you are earning. People think they are the ones who are doing most of the things, and for you are just enjoying.
More problem that the headquarters are run by people who tried to compete for offices and they lost
most of the time.
And that was the biggest problem with us at Najana Nkumbi at that time.
So that is usually
apart from FDC.
So that's the first issue, Oscar, I want to deal with, that you have a headquarter to serve, but also you have a constituency of MPs to serve at Parliament. Sometimes your interests tend to conflict. But also the working in an NRM Parliament, the public sometimes tend to forget. And I have seen some of the things they accuse the Honorable Mpuga. Anyone who wants to be a leader of opposition will be accused of the same things. That you meet the speaker. If you are a leader of opposition in Parliament and you can't work, so there is no relationship with the speaker to do work, you are in trouble.
I also wondered about that.
Yeah.
So they will mend their, politicians, no permanent enemy, no permanent friend.
It is not possible. Both of you are in charge of Parliament together with the Prime Minister. Every day you must meet because you prepare an order paper and you have an interest as a leader of opposition. So if you begin clashing with the speaker, maybe you will never be functional as a leader of opposition.
How will you ever get on the order paper?
So that people need to understand. I saw many
These
people
things have not been getting onto the order paper because he's been in a fight with the speaker for quite a while.
Who?
Joel, beginning with the airline report.
So yes. you must. It's like when you are in prison.
Yeah.
I went to visit Alan Sewanya and Segirinya. They had picked a quarrel with the head of the Kigo. And I had to plead with him. In fact, Seginya had even to kneel down. Because I said, this guy did not bring you here. You're just in his custody. So
quarreling with him is
please
not helping
don't quarrel. You must be your number one friend. Because me, when this government took me to Ruzira, and I thank those guys. They really treated me very well. They even afforded me things that they were not affording other prisons.
A 6-inch mattress.
No. I mean, they allowed my wife to visit me on a Saturday because I had been brought on a Friday. And they don't allow other people. Because I told these two MPs, just make this guy your friend instead of quarreling with him. He didn't bring you here.
So this is the advice you're giving to
maturity.
That when you are a leader of opposition in Parliament, first and foremost, you need to have the speaker. You need to have a relationship. You don't have to be friends, but you must have a relationship with the speaker because every day, every single thing you're going to do in Parliament, you will need the Speaker of Parliament.
Honorable Zake has already said he's bringing the fire back. He's going to start straight away. He has tweeted that.
It may not be possible. You see, everybody was attempted. Ask Kenny Ruchams when he had the issues with the second threw him out. They even stopped him from nominating.
Yeah. And they are from the same area, but
so I wanted, as the Honorable Senyonyi comes in, for people who made that as an issue with Honorable Mpuga to understand that to function as a leader of opposition, you will need to relate with others that are in Parliament. But I also said earlier that the headquarter, usually there is a problem between the headquarter and those who serve in Parliament. Decisions of Parliament sometimes don't please those at the headquarters. So the headquarters ordinarily tend to be more activist than members of parliament.
True.
Because you see, you are on a formal platform where you can speak. You may know. I mean, sometimes things can get. I remember the Abdu knows it. Yeah. When we were in a meeting for many days, and some MP said, when we go for Tojikwatako, let's begin by fighting. I said, no. I mean, even in normal life, you need to first quarrel. You can't begin fighting. Yeah. So the Abdus had difficulties restraining some of their troops that please, even if it is Muzigo, you first quarrel and everybody sees that you are quarreling, and then you can begin boxing. But you can't enter the parliamentary chambers and the first thing is to box.
What about now, Honorable Semuju, who has gone opposition Minister of Finance? Have you sorted out the things like fiscal deficits and so on?
But those ones, I don't know. People tend to glorify the economic terms. Because if
your friend Andrew Mwenda, you never forget it.
Yeah, but if you have put them in everyday language, everybody will understand. For me, in my constituency, people even understand GDP, ordinary people, because I don't speak GDP, but I explain. Yeah, but I explain to them what these terms mean, because I am not in an economic classroom in Makerere. I am people who consume my service are ordinary people. I don't even think they care about the fiscal deficit that Mwenda was speaking about.
Yeah. The Honorable Katuntu, as we near conclusion, some of the things of Bobby Wine of NUP at the very beginning, a long time ago, when people had all these impressions of him, and he was saying Moses refused to go to the ghetto, let him bring the ghetto. And
Moses is there.
He has brought
now
the
distributing
ghetto.
Money.
Now Moses has also now gone to the ghetto. No, he has been to the 1 point. For him, he goes in a big way. He took 1.2 billion to the ghetto.
But anybody who ignores Moses.
No, but so he has really brought the ghetto to Parliament.
Actually, to the national agenda. And you have to credit him. The ghetto should credit him. At some point, Moses tried, but he didn't penetrate so much the ghetto until the ghetto itself came out and said, hey, here we are, and we're a big constituency, and we can even compete for political power. Today, any political strategist now knows that is a big constituency. And thanks to Robert Chagulanyi,
Museveni hosted them earlier.
It has now attracted the attention it used not to have. The other day, of course, as you are saying, they were in Kololo. But when they were leaving Kololo, what they did to streets there, my God. People didn't have phones. It was just
they didn't even give the president opportunity to speak to
I can tell you,
I had never seen. The president.
I've never seen the president.
Me, I would say, don't use that. Don't use the word. Just say you ask them to be quiet.
I have never seen President Museveni lose his cool.
Yeah, but
when addressing a crowd.
Yeah.
But
very uncharacteristic of.
Let me tell you, that is the ghetto. For him to lose the cool actually also was a mistake on his part. He was not addressing Edgar and Katuntu and others.
Yeah, but
no.
But how would if I have given you my man and you are not listening?
Do they listen? Do they listen?
No.
So to me, that is what the ghetto is all about.
Semuju, you're the one who said quarrel first. So he was quarreling.
Semuju always reminds, it was a very difficult time for us with Semuju here. A very, very difficult time. I'll never forget. It's part of, in my memos and so on, those meetings are very, very bad.
You were supposed to go to university.
Let me finish this.
Edgar, now I no longer trust you. This conclusion is Abdul's only.
So that is now the ghetto today.
If anyone wants to say something, one sentence. Because now I don't trust anyone to say
the ghetto.
Hold on, you first. You speak last. These people, I don't trust them. Moses, your one sentence.
My one sentence on the ghetto is that we need to penetrate such a groups much more as the government, as NRM, and we are doing more.
Okay, Edgar, your one sentence.
I think,
and let it not be about MK.
No,
as we talk about the ghetto.
I've never spoken about MK.
That's why I'm saying don't start. That's why I'm saying don't.
That is the position I've taken. I keep off that topic.
Okay.
And please, when you are discussing it, keep me. I will not come.
You're already there. We've heard your opinion.
Honorable Katuntu, this is my conclusion.
Inform Edgar that Joel was 19 when he joined UBC in 2005.
Yes. He was at university, he had just entered. Yeah. And by the way, he got the job on merit. Yeah. He was the best interviewee for that interview.
And then another one, Semuju was thrown out of parliament by the late Olanya. People on Twitter, they have bueno.
Okay, so my one sentence. In all that we do, particularly persons in our space, is to deepen the discussion on not who is right, but what is right for Uganda.
Yeah. Honorable Semuju, your one sentence. It's good you say you don't want to be thrown out of parliament.
No, I have grown. I remember one time I had a rally in Chireka. I was, when they brought pink, they were sprinkling me. I had to stay away because my children were at home.
You couldn't go back in pink.
You don't want to go home like that. so when you have a family, there are things you don't
things you change. and also Joel, when he had his first child, remember on the table here, we were congratulating him. Welcome to the world of responsibilities.
Yeah.
So Abdul, final word on gang.
So the ghetto is going to be a very critical constituency for any politician. But the state should get so much involved. If you don't penetrate the ghetto in a positive way, you end up breeding the zombies of this world. And they can be very, very dangerous to cities. I have been to Kingston in Jamaica, and there are places you don't go to. Even police fights, when they are going there, it's really...
They're ready themselves.
It is war. And they are having running battles. There are even victims on both sides, and police eventually withdraw. Say, after this, maybe they can calm down. So you don't need ghetto headquarters there and so on. It will be really, really big trouble. Because there are many, many cities in the world with the ghetto headquarters and the no-go area.
Okay, so I'd like to wish listeners of the Capital Gang Merry Christmas. We shall be here for the final show of the year, as I said before. List what we should review, and we'll put out a poster saying we'll only discuss what you've listed. Star Cafe, thank you very much for powering the gang. Honorable Katuntu has been a bit lazy this morning. I think he only had one cup of tea. But Semuju having missed out a bit.
For the meeting.
Semuju having missed out a bit. He has really worked today. Thank you, Honorable Semuju. Mega Yogurt, Moses is here, Mega Yogurt, and he had new notes for Semuju. Semuju has not returned them. Abdul, again, you are not here when I announced NSSF sent me a large envelope, and I found out there's a notebook in there, a pen and a card. Wow. Thank you, NSSF. Please continue listening to our platforms, media platforms. I am Oscar Semoyam Soke, and I shall see you next week.